It's an absolutely stunning morning here atop Longview Vineyard for our last pick of the season. Nebbiolo for vintage 2020. And here we are, back in the cellar door after a really long Nebbiolo pick over the last couple of days. The fruit is looking marvelous, but that is vintage 2020 done and dusted. It is in the can, as they say in the film industry. But what I thought I'd do now that I'm back in cellar door is kind of round out the Italian tasting pack, the A Casa, or at-home tasting pack that we have available on our website. So we'll do 2 tastings in one today, but I want you to have a look at this. A couple of videos ago, we focused on the Nebbiolo Rosato, and today we're going to have a look at the Barbera and Nebbiolo. And these labels are all based on Roman mythology, all starting with this guy, Saturn. He was one of the original Roman titans, and the planet Saturn is named after him, of course, as is our family. And he was the god of agriculture, and you can see he's always pictured with his scythe there. Now, Saturn ate 2 of his sons because it was foretold that they would take his power. His very clever wife, whose name escapes me, hid one of his sons, and that was Jupiter. And he indeed ended up usurping Saturn and taking his power and became the all-powerful god of everything, but most notably weather. And that's Jupiter, or in Greek mythology, that'd be Zeus. Saturn also had a daughter, Juno, who was the goddess of matrimony and longevity. Now, Juno married Jupiter. It's just the way they did things back then. I don't know what became of their kids. I feel sorry for them regardless. Let's taste some wine. Barbera is going to be next up to bat. And I love Barbera. I think Australians should be drinking a hell of a lot more Barbera. It is soft, it is juicy, but it has this lovely acid line, which makes it so good with food. We planted our Barbera about 8 years ago, and it took about 5, maybe even 6 years to get a really good crop off of it, because the acid is so high. It's like tasting one of those Sour Patch lollies when you're tasting on the vine. But the trick is to pick it when the fruit ripeness is there, even though the acid is really high, because the acid will drop out in the winery during fermentation, etc. But what you're left with is a beautiful, soft, fleshy, pillowy kind of wine with an amazing color. Just have a look at that. It's this rubyish sort of purpley color, and it's just beautiful. So that's the color. And on the nose, you've just got so much jumping out of the glass. Maraschino, cherry, you've got some sort of small plums and little tart berries, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of milk chocolate. It's just a cornucopia of stuff on the nose. And even a little bit of citrus zest. And this is actually something the citrus was something that a really good wine writer by the name of Regan Drew, who's got Vino Notebook. He's really worth a follow. He's a great wine blogger. And he kind of, like I said, citrus zest. And I went back to the wine and had a look at it. And yes, it's there. You can tell it's there. And it's just irresistible. Again, I'm quoting Regan, I think there. You could smell this all day, but of course we have to drink it. And it is just as much fun and has so much pizzazz on the palate as it does the nose. It is so juicy, it is so bright, it is so fresh, but it's got this real serious acid drive, which just makes you want to put a bit of salami in your mouth, or another vegetarian option. So the Barbera, in my mind, probably because of the acid, can also lie down for a few more years. The great thing about natural acidity in wines is that it does make them age-worthy. So check out our Barbera in our tasting pack, the A Casa tasting pack. And Food is its friend. It'll go with pretty much anything.